Hello students, in today's lecture we'll be discussing about design aspects of process control system. Take a look at this example. It's a CSTR with a jacket. Now in this CSTR, an exothermic reaction that A goes to B takes place. It's a well stirred CSTR, that is there is a uniform temperature distribution throughout the liquid in the CSTR. It's exothermic reaction, so heat is basically evolved in this. So that heat is being absorbed by the coolant which flows in the jacket. Now the input stream to the CSTR is the reactant stream, which is having an initial concentration CAI, initial flow rate Fi, and input flow rate Fi and input temperature Ti. The product stream is having a concentration Ca, the flow rate F and the temperature T. Now the coolant is having a flow rate Fc, which is same as the outlet Fc, and the inlet temperature of the coolant is Tci and the outlet temperature of the coolant is Tc0. Now in this we can classify these different variables into two categories. One is the input variables and the output variables. Now in this example, the input variables are the initial the concentration CAI, input concentration, Fi, input flow rate, Ti, input temperature of the stream of the reactant, the input flow rate of the coolant Fc, and the input temperature of the coolant Tci. The outputs are Fc, Tc0, Ca, F and T. Clear? So these are the variables which can be classified as into two categories. One is input variables and the output variables. Now input variables are further classified into two further divisions. One is the manipulated variables and the disturbances. Now the manipulated variables are those variables which can easily be adjusted either manually or by automatic system, whereas the disturbances are those inputs which are not controlled initially, or they are not the result of adjustments. Clear? Whereas the outputs, that is Fc, Tc0, Ca, F and T, now they are classified into two further categories. One is the measured variables and the unmeasured variables. Now the measured variables are those variables which can directly be measured, like temperature. Temperature can directly be measured with the help of a thermometer, or it can be directly measured with the help of a thermocouple. Flow rates can be measured directly with the help of venturimeter or a orifice meter. Clear? Now unmeasured variables are those variables which cannot be measured directly. Like the easiest example is the concentration. Now concentration, no doubt, concentration can be measured directly with the help of composition analyzers like GC or maybe spectroscopy or mass spectroscopy, but these equipments are very expensive, so they cannot be installed on each input levels. So normally the concentration is termed as unmeasured variables. Now in this, if you see this example in the CSTR, the reactant term, let's suppose this reactant which is entering into this CSTR is from somewhat an upstream, somewhere from the upstream, which is not controlled. So all these variables in the input, that is concentration, your flow rate and your temperature, they can be your disturbances because they have not been controlled initially, because we have already defined what are disturbances which are not the result of adjustment. Now if the input stream to this reactant is not being controlled initially, so all these variables, they are termed as disturbances. Clear? Further, if you look at the coolant flow rate, if the coolant flow rate is controlled, then Fc can be termed as manipulated variable, because it can be manipulated, because if the Fc is controlled, initially controlled, so it's a manipulated variable, whereas Tci can become the disturbance. Further, if you see at the product stream, if the outlet is controlled, then the outlet flow rate F becomes the manipulated variable. Clear? Whereas the other terms like flow rate, temperature, FC and TC naught, all these terms can easily be measured, so they are your measured outputs, whereas concentration, they are termed as unmeasured outputs, because again concentration can be measured directly with the help of analyzers, but they are very expensive, they have very low reliability, so we normally term the concentration or the compositions as the unmeasured output variables. Further, now designing of a control system comprising of different parts. Now these are, first is define a controller objective. Now controller objective is very important for designing a controller system. For example, if I want to control the temperature of the outlet or the flow rate of the outlet, so that means my objective for putting up a control system on that particular process will be to control the temperature or to control the flow rate of the output. So the controller objective is very much important. We should be very much familiar what is to be controlled, what parameter is to be controlled. Second is select measurement. This is very much important because as we have defined, the outputs can be the measured ones or they can be the unmeasured ones. So what sort of measurements can be used to measure certain parameters? Now measurements can be classified as primary measurements or the secondary measurements. Now primary measurements are something which can be directly measured or which can directly be monitored, which represents basically your control objective. Like for example, temperature, it can directly be measured. If the controller objective is to measure the is to control the outlet temperature, so that temperature can be categorized as the primary measurement. Clear? Similarly, the flow rate, if the controller objective is to control the outlet flow rate, then my outlet flow rate becomes my primary measurement because it can directly be measured with the help of an orifice meter. Clear? Then there are certain objectives which cannot be measured directly, so they belong to a class of unmeasured outputs. So in such cases we measure the other available variables which can be measured easily, and those measurements become the supporting measurements which are classified as secondary measurements. So hence we can develop a mathematical relation between the unmeasured outputs and the secondary measurements. Moving further, then the third point in designing of a controller objective is to select a manipulated variable. Now once the controller objective is defined, various measurements have been identified, then the question comes, what parameters or what output variables can be manipulated. Now in order to control the liquid level in the tank, we can either adjust the flow rate of the inlet or we can either adjust the flow rate of the outlet. So inlet flow rate or the outlet flow rate will become the manipulated variable. Further, the fourth is to select a controller configuration. Now what is a controller configuration? A controller configuration is basically an information structure that connects the available measurements with the available manipulated variables. Now depending upon the controlled outputs and manipulated inputs, controller configuration is of two types. Controller configuration can be distinguished as the CISO problem or they can be classified as the MIMO problem. Now what is CISO problem and MIMO problem? CISO basically stands for single input, single output. Now single input or single output means, now suppose if I want to control the liquid level in the tank. So I can either change the inlet flow rate or change the outlet flow rate. So there is one input and there is one output. So that becomes the SISO problem, that is single input single output problem. Now suppose in the same system, apart from the controlling the outlet flow rate, the liquid level in the tank, I want to control the temperature also in the tank. So now I have two outputs, that is I want to control the liquid level as well as the outlet temperature. So in that case I will be either manipulating the inlet flow rate or the outlet flow rate along with the inlet temperature or the outlet temperature of the stream. So it becomes multiple input and multiple output systems. Clear? So our controller configuration can either be classified as SISO problem or a MIMO problem depending upon the controller objective. Now there are three different types of controller configurations. These are feedback controller configurations, feed forward controller configuration, and inferential controller configuration. Now what is feedback controller configuration? Now if you see in this diagram, we have a process. Now in this process there are input variables which can be classified as manipulated or they can be classified as disturbances, and we have the outputs which can be classified as measured outputs or unmeasured outputs. Now those measured outputs, signals from those measured outputs will go into the controller action, where we have already set our desired values. Now the controller will compare the measured values with the desired value and produce an error. Now that on the basis of that error, our valves or the controlling elements, they will actually manipulate these input variables. So this is how basically a feedback controller configuration works. Now if you see, the very specific aim of this feedback is, we are not targeting the disturbances. What we are targeting is the manipulated variables, the variables which can easily be controlled. Now in this, the main aspect is the disturbance the controller action only occurs once the disturbance enters into the system. So basically feedback controller configuration is somewhat in a compensatory manner. It works in a compensatory manner. Means the disturbance has been felt by the process and then we are taking the action, then we are taking the controller action. So this is the main aim of the feedback. This is how it works. Second is feed forward controller configuration. In this, again, process is classified into two categories. One is the manipulated variables and the disturbances, and there are outputs which is measured outputs and unmeasured outputs. Now in this feed forward, we are actually controlling the disturbances. Based upon those disturbances, we are controlling the manipulated variables. So in this, the effect of disturbance doesn't affect the process. So this type of feed forward is known as anticipatory manner. It works in an anticipatory manner. Before the disturbance is felt by the system, the action has already been implemented. Its effect has already been nullified by controlling the manipulated variables. So feed backward is a compensatory manner. Feed forward works in an anticipatory manner. That is, we are preventing, and one is we are taking the precautions beforehand. Then the third type of controller configuration is your inferential controller configuration. Now in this, the measured outputs are fed into an estimator. Now estimator is a computer algorithm where, with the help of material and energy balance of a system along with the thermodynamic equations, we calculate some unmeasured controlled variables. Now those unmeasured controlled variables, they are fed into the controller, compared with the set point, and then we try to manipulate the input variables, manipulated variables. So this is somewhat a very crisp type of a controller configuration. it gives a very accurate control, but the drawback is we need to apply the material and energy balance along with the thermodynamic equations on each and every stream to control the process. So it becomes very complex and a tedious process for putting up an inferential controller. Now moving further, let's take an example where we try to compare the all the three types of controller configurations. Now let's take this example. Now we have a simple distillation column separating the binary mixture. Now the feed is having a binary mixture of pentane and hexane, and we are dividing into two streams, the distillate which is there at the top and the bottoms which there at the lower part of the distillation column. Now the distillate is having a pentane, which is our desired product, and bottom is having the hexane. So the objective of the distillation column is we need to produce a distillate of 95% pentane. The input to this distillation column is the feed, which is basically the disturbance, that is the composition of the feed is changing. That means in the feed the pentane and hexane composition is not fixed, it's variable. Sometimes you can get a pentane of 10% in a feed stream, sometimes you can get around 60% of the pentane in the feed stream. So that means the composition of pentane in the feed is variable. So depending upon that, we need to put a controller configuration that ensures that we should get a distillate of 95% mole of pentane in the distillate. Now the first controller configuration which we have applied on the system is the feed backward. Now let's analyze how the feed backward controller configuration works. Now our aim is that the controller objective is we need a distillate of 95% pentane, right? So what we do is we measured the concentration of distillate with the help of a composition analyzer. Now that composition analyzer analyzes the percentage of mole in the distillate. It gives that value, gives that measured value to the controller. Now in the controller we have already fed that, compare that measured composition with the set value. Now the set value is 95%. Clear? Now after comparing the measured value with the set value, the controller generates an error. Now that error is then implemented, or whatever the decision taken by the controller is implemented by the valve which is there in the reflux. Now let's analyze. Now suppose in the distillate if the pentane is 97%, so the composition analyzer analyzed and said the pentane is in the distillate 97%. So the controller compare that 97 with 95. The error is positive, so the controller tells the valve to close the reflux so that more and more distillate moves out of the system. Clear? Now suppose if the distillate is 60%, so that 60% value goes into the controller, compares with the 95%, that is the desired value. The error is negative, so that means the controller tells the valve to open the reflux so that more and more outlet goes back into the system so that we can achieve a distillate of 95%. So this is how your feedback controller configuration works. Now let's look at the second type of controller configuration on the same system, that is feed forward. Now in this feed forward we analyze the disturbance. Now the disturbance is the composition in the feed. Now the feed composition goes into the controller. Controller with some calculation decides whether the reflux to be opened or closed. Now I'll explain some in a very simple way. Now suppose in order to achieve 95%, let's assume that minimum feed in the feed the pentane should be 60%. Clear? Now suppose I mean to say that for a distillate of 95% I need a minimum pentane in a feed of 60%. Now if the feed is 60%, then only I'll be able to achieve the distillate of 95. This is what the feed forward is working. Now suppose if in the feed there is no pentane coming, will you be able to achieve 95% distillate? No. So that means the controller will tell the valve, the valve at the reflux to open unless you do not achieve a unless you do not achieve a composition of 95%, the entire output will be fed back into the system. So this is how feed forward works. Feed forward basically takes the action based upon the disturbances, so that the disturbance should not enter into the system. It should be eliminated at the inlet point only. The third type of controller configuration on this system is your inferential controller configuration. Now inferential, in inferential we use an estimator. Now what does estimator does? Now estimator estimates the temperature and composition on each and every plate of the distillate using material and energy balance along with the thermodynamic equations. Then it calculates some unmeasured outputs, that is the compositions. Now that composition is fed into the controller where it compares with the set point, and then it takes the action on the valve which is there at the reflux. So this gives you the exact output of 95%, but the crux is we need to analyze the composition and the temperature or the working conditions on each and every plate. So it becomes a tedious job of applying the inferential controller configuration on one single unit. Now imagine putting up such type of controller configuration on numerous processing units on a big chemical plant. It becomes very tedious job. So we normally prefer to go for either feed forward type of controller configuration or a feed backward type of controller configuration. Clear? Moving further. Now here are certain advantages and disadvantages of feed forward and feed backward. The advantages of feed forward are basically the disadvantage of feed backward, and similarly the feed backward advantages become the disadvantages for feed forward. Now feed forward advantage, again the disturbance has been eliminated before it enters, so it's basically an anticipatory move. It's good for slow systems. It doesn't introduce any instability. Obviously the disturbance has been eliminated, so it doesn't introduce any instability in the closed loop. The disadvantage of feed forward is we need to initially identify all possible disturbances and which are directly measured. Second, it cannot cope up with unmeasured disturbance. Certainly sometimes if the concentration which is entering into the stream produces a disturbance which has yet not been controlled initially, so it cannot cope up with that type of disturbances. Since it's very sensitive and you require a very good knowledge of a process for applying this feed forward, whereas in feed backward the advantage is we do not require any identification or any measurement of any disturbance. It only works once the disturbance has been felt by the system. It's very insensitive to modeling errors. It's very insensitive to parameter changes. So we'll understand what are these modeling errors and parameter changes once we proceed further with the controller systems. Now feed backward disadvantages, it only works once the disturbance has entered into the system. Before that it doesn't work. Obviously that's why the name comes as feedback, because once the output has been measured which has been affected by the disturbance, then that output measured goes into the controller and then we try to manipulate. So the disturbance has to be felt by the system before it works. Secondly, it's very unsatisfactory for slow processes and significant dead time. We'll explain what is dead time. Dead time is basically the delay in the signal, and it creates instability in a closed loop. Obviously once there are certain good amount of disturbances, so it takes a good amount of time for the system to reach a stable value, a steady state value, a stable value. So it may create instability in a closed loop. So this is what all about the designing aspects of a controller process. So again I will go through a brief. First we need to identify the controller objective. We need to select the measurements, output measurements or the input measurements, classify them into primary and the secondary measurements. Then is the objective done. The manipulated variables which can easily be controlled, and then we need to identify the controller configuration, like what sort of controller configuration needed to be applied on the system, feed forward, feed backward, or inferential type of controller configurations. So in the next lecture we'll try to discuss about the hardware element of the controller systems. Now in this lecture, if you find any problem or if you want to discuss anything, you can mail me at this email ID. Thank you.